Spam. I think I might be the only person in the world that makes this wonderful dish called spamghetti. Alright, so I'm going to show you how to make it today as I go over something in Ecclesiastes. Of course, what Ecclesiastes is known for, as Solomon recommends, is that there's nothing better in life than to eat, today spamghetti, and to drink, and I got a little American soju. Alright, American soju. Anyway, I'm going to share that with our Bible study tonight. Eat, drink, and to enjoy the labors of the earth. I think those are very important words. So I chopped up some spam here. I'm going to put it in to make. Cook it for a while. Alright. And as I do, I want to go over a little bit of what I want to talk about with the Bible study group tonight. Ecclesiastes chapter 3. Just one part of it actually that I want to talk about. And I think it's very important because you know what's going on in the world, especially in the United States of America right now with the, those kids with the mega hat, with the American Indian, and there's the Black Hebrews, three groups. And we all know by now what happened. And of course, the media went overboard and did not really told the truth. Now they're in trouble, right? But that's not the point. The point is, the more we try to do what is right, because everybody's standing up for something, right? And they believe it's right, the more of a problem we're going to bring to this world. And I think Solomon warned us with that. For it says in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, which is basically, they made a song about it, we had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun. That there are seasons for all things. There's time to cry, there's time to laugh, there's time to work, there's time to relax, time to rejoice, and all that. Time for peace, time for war. There's time for all things. There's nothing you can really do about it. God has His plans. And we try to come up with our own plans to make life better, but it just doesn't seem to work out. I think more and more people, we try to change things, more upset that we tend to get. And what is interesting is that in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, the reason why the more we try to fix things that we can't seem to fix, God has His plan, and whatever His plan is, it's going to go through, no matter what we do. That's exactly what Ecclesiastes 3 seems to say, where it says, well, in NIV it says, God has put eternity in our hearts. But if you really look into that verse, what it actually says is that God has hidden His plans from us. So whatever has happened in the past is something God planned. Whatever happened in the future is something that God has planned, but we don't know what they are. And the reason why God has hidden those things is so that we could really focus on what is important today, which is today. Right? Today. No matter what we do, God's will be done. God's plan will go through. Right? So, of course, we want to live and do our best for the world, but like I said, the more we tend to try to fix things, the more struggle there seems to be. Well, so far I put in spam just to cook it for a while, as somebody had told me in the past, garlic. There never could be enough garlic. Okay, so I don't know if you like garlic or not, but I do. So I got 1 spoonful, maybe 2, maybe 3 spoonful. And along with that, I'm mixing up this Korean chili paste. All right, for me, about a spoonful would be enough. All right, you could get it at a Korean market, obviously, and it's kind of spicy. So I would say don't put too much more than a spoonful. And then, of course, you mix in whatever you enjoy in your spaghetti. I got some mushrooms and a bunch of onions. All right, bunch of onions. a lot of onions, mushrooms, and spam. And you just cook it until, well, you know, until it gets ready for a while. Alright, going back to it. So God has His plans. He has hidden His plans from us so that we could really focus on what is important today. That is to enjoy the company of people, do what is right, enjoy your work, right? Enjoy the good of your labor, it says. Those things are important. But the problem is there are evil in this world. I know the religion really talks about evil, and we're supposed to fight against evil. And I think those are very important. But having said that, what did Jesus say about evil? Did Jesus say we should fight evil? I don't think so. What He said was, resist not evil. You know, I mean, there was one commentator that said, well, maybe the translation got lost along the way, that the Bible never meant to say resist, do not resist evil. It meant to say resent not evil, which I think is a very difficult thing to do, but I think is a good advice. Do not resent for anything. Do not resent evil. But if you really, I don't know, look at the word, I could see why some commentators say resent not evil, but mostly because how do you resist not evil? How do you allow evil to continue? And that's something that Ecclesiastes, Solomon is trying to say, in my opinion, is that God has His plan. Sometimes there's time to mourn. Something's been done against you, but there's time for victories and time to laugh. What goes around comes around. I think that's what he seems to be saying. So, meaning, just like how it says in, I think, Ecclesiastes 1, you allow the foolishness to continue. You don't try to put greater knowledge into somebody who doesn't want it, because it just won't work. The greatest knowledge that he could find is if he continues in his foolishness, and one day he will snap out of it. At the same time, we think knowledge and wisdom is such a wonderful thing, and we should do whatever we can to gain it. But even Solomon says even that is useless or meaningless, because it really doesn't change anything. Right? Because there are time for all things. And just because your generation did something wonderful and great doesn't mean that your next generation will come and do something wonderful. Continue to do things that are wonderful. It just won't. And you could see it in Solomon's days. You got King David who fought the war. You have Solomon who basically ruled during peace, and he was the wisest man that ever lived. But what did the wisest man that has ever lived, look at his kids and how they turned out. They did evil in the eyes of the Lord, and their descendants as well did evil in the eyes of the Lord. Meaning, all that war, all that wisdom didn't do anything. Right? That's why Ecclesiastes says, what good is it? What gain were there for all the work that David and Solomon has done? Right? Totally meaningless, because their children came and messed everything up. So resist not evil. I think it is important. And the reason why I think is important, and I think what Solomon is trying to say, I'll read it to you from Fushida. Listen to this. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment. In the place of judgment, that wickedness was there. And in the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. So, we have this idea to change people's behavior through law. Right? Justice. Do what is right. But as you know, justice really doesn't work, because, seriously, it really depends on who's sitting behind the judge's seat. It really depends on how a policeman feels that day. But if you also look into that system that we have created, justice, there's wickedness and iniquity there as well. people don't learn just because there's harsher laws. Evil continues. Same thing with righteousness. And everybody's trying to really help one another to become righteous. Right? Righteous. I know that the Bible says, Paul says, that God, Jesus, through his faith, had brought righteousness into us. But instead of accepting the righteousness of God, just put in some, just ragu sauce. I'm cheating today. Right? So I'm mixing in all that, right? I mixed in Spam with the sauce, onions, mushrooms. I think that's what I put in. And a Korean chili paste. And you just heat it up for a while. Right? And that's it. Pour over some spaghetti and eat with your friends along with a little American soju. By the way, this is kind of tasty. In fact, I'll have one with you right now. Yes. American soju. I don't know where it's made in though. Alcohol content is 20%. Aurora, Colorado. Ooh, maybe the same people that makes Coors made it. I don't know, but cheers. As I was saying, in righteousness, we want religion. There are a lot of religious people that want to teach righteousness. Righteousness of life, righteousness of God. Because we want to do what is good and right. So we try hard to teach people what to do and what not to do. Right? So there's Christians that goes around teaching people about life, what to do, what not to do. But at the end of the day, if you look around with it, hey, in the place of righteousness, there's iniquity there as well, right? Not all Christians do good. In fact, a lot of them do, just as much of them do wrong as non-believers. If you look at the political stuff that's going on in America right now, with those kids from Kansas or Kentucky, with MAGA hat and all that kind of stuff, each group is trying to come out and say who's right and who's wrong. And people are always going to take sides. Even though there's only like one video that shows the truth, people are not going to go by the truth. Why? Because everybody thinks they're right. So there are virtue signaling people out there that's trying to force people to change their behaviors or shame people. And the same group of people that says, racism, calling out racism and diversity and name calling and all that, they're the ones who's name calling. Right? But then they think they're right. So even in the place of righteousness, there is iniquity. So what are we supposed to do? Can you change any of that? Because we don't know God's plan. We only know, according to what the Bible says, is that all things are going to work out for great for those who love the Lord. That is the only thing we know for sure. But as far as what we have planned for ourselves, and I know one of the congresswomen came out and said that if we don't do something now, in 12 years, well, she says something like in 12 years, the world is going to come to an end. Right? That's what she said. So, is that true or false? Well, I'm sure it's false, but I'm sure she's going to, and there's that righteousness there. But in the place of righteousness, there is iniquity. So he said, I said in my heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked. For there is time for every purpose and every work. Right? Meaning even in justice and righteousness, even if you do something right or wrong or something like that, God blesses and God curses everyone equally. That's what it seems to say. And God has his plan, and he has hidden his plan from us. So what matters? Right? But to enjoy your labor, rejoice in the good your labor brings, enjoy the food, the drink with your family and your friends. I think that's important. Anyways, hope you try spamghetti. All right, make it. I guarantee you will love it. God bless you, and I'll see you next time.